I was waiting for it to switch over. I
I know you was fiddling with it at the same time I was fiddling it.
think I was.
Welcome,
Hello,
welcome, welcome,
everybody. Hello,
guys.
hello.
Welcome to another episode of
Yes,
Gym Time with myself, Debbie, and my bigger brother.
Maurice, aka Oh.
Why
Yeah,
was that?
nice to see you
Why
all
was you
again.
delayed there? Why was you delayed?
What was I just now when I was talking?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. You know this platform likes to mess up, especially when we got subjects that are deep and meaningful. It decides that, you know what, the internet says, you know what, I don't want you talking about good stuff, you know,
Why does
but
your
we're gonna
screen
do
look
it anyway.
hazy today?
I don't know.
Does
I
it
don't
look
know.
sharp? Does it look sharp on your end?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, not on
I
this
look,
end.
I look all hazy.
Yeah,
Let's have
you're
a
like you're
look if
gonna
I can.
like you're gonna disappear any minute now.
How's
But
that?
yeah, I'm looking forward to this episode, and we have a couple of guests with us, which is awesome. Really, really good. For those of you who joined us a couple of weeks ago, we had Dennis on, and it was a phenomenal show. We was on for like 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
That was really, really phenomenal.
We
He
let him
really
have
shared.
the
Yeah, he
lead.
shared
Express
some
himself.
nuggets and real food for thought, especially for the men out there. Do you get what I mean? Men and women, but especially for the men out there, it was really phenomenal. And I got good feedback from that one. People was saying, yeah, that was a really good one. And then we've got our dear cousin Millicent. So we've got two people from the US today. So
Yeah,
this
it's
isn't
funny,
this
isn't it?
isn't just UK, you know. This is like international. We are
International.
international. So yeah, we've got our
And
cousin.
hopefully we'll get other people from other places as well. So, you
Absolutely.
know, and I always say that anytime you feel that brave enough to come and join us with one of the subjects, or if you present a subject to us, we'll try our best to build it and build it around you. And come on, you know,
Amen.
we're all supposed to share. Everybody has a story. Everybody's been through something, you know,
Yeah,
and hopefully come out. Um, so I'm gonna do my disclaimer first before we get into the show.
go ahead.
So I'm here to try to empower you, motivate you, encourage you, get you to see things from a different perspective. If you're not seeing it that way already, give you food for thought, and hopefully you try to apply these situation or these strategies to help you to overcome whatever it is that you're going through. Now, when you do try to apply it, if it's the case that it doesn't work the way we said it, you fine tune it to who you are. Yeah. But don't come back and say, well, no, you know what I like to say, knock up my neck. Yeah. But the one thing I wanted to say tonight is number one, thank you for the silent listeners as well. Please subscribe and or tell your friends, etc. And do comment in the chat as well. Please, everybody, interact with us. You know, this isn't just our show, but your show as well. Um, and the last thing that I wanted to say is that to all of you that are grieving one way or another because you've lost a loved one, or you're going through divorce, or you are divorced. Yeah. We're here tonight for you, especially you, you know, and there's always hope. I'm a divorcee. Um, and at the weekend, we lost an uncle. So we are going through a grieving period right now as well. So, you know, it's hard. It is difficult, but there's always hope. Over to you, Debbie.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing that, Paul. So, um, as my brother said, we are here to encourage you, inspire you, motivate you, and uplift you. And really, this platform is about you guys. It's about you finding different methods and strategies and how you're going to overcome your challenges. And all of us, like we're all on a journey. We're not saying that we've arrived. What we are saying is that the things that we have learned, the things that we are learning, that we want to share that with you. And so we bring on guests, we share, we do our research, we do all what we can in order to help you on this journey called life and relationships. It can be so challenging at times, but the reality is that we all have to go through it. We all should be learning lessons and becoming bigger and better. So anything that you learn on here, it would be great if you let us know. Do you know what? I listened to this podcast that you was doing, and I started to actually, somebody did message me and said that they started to implement certain things with their husband, and he wasn't very open, and he's starting to become more open. They're starting to have more conversations about their relationship. So we want more of those testimonies, and if you can send them to us via text message, on our platform. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You can just DM us with your messages and your testimonies, and just let us know that what we're doing out here is really helping and supporting you. And my slogan is, I don't know everything. I really don't.
You don't.
Hard to believe, but what I do know, I will share with you. I would absolutely share it with you. And so, yeah, we're going to crack on with the show. And what I really wanted to do, I wanted to introduce our cousin and also Dennis. I wanted to bring them in quite early. And then what we could do is just ask them their opinion on like the title, what they think and so forth on the title. And really, I want them to share who they are, what they do, because they're phenomenal people. Yeah. And then your thoughts on the title. So who you are and your thoughts on the title. So I am going to let them move into the room. We have Dennis and we have Millicent. Millicent. We all got pet names around here, but we have Dennis and Millicent. So it's good to have you guys. Thank you for joining us. And we're hoping that we don't get no glitches, because you know, all of us is on the platform. We're meant to get up to at least 10 people we can have on the platform. But let's have a look and see how it goes. So over to you, Mr. Dennis, even though I introduced your name, but you can introduce yourself again.
Okay, I'm Dennis. How you guys doing? Hey, Paul.
Good.
Yeah,
Camera's running all over the place.
Where you going, camera?
Hey, Dennis.
Yeah, I don't know where it go. Hey, how are you, Melissa?
I'm well. I like that hat. Give it up.
The hat and the beard.
There you go. Yeah. You can have.
No, put the hat back on, man.
Thank
Put the hat
you.
back
Put it back
on.
on. Sure. I didn't mean to scare. I didn't mean to scare anybody. Let me put it back on. I don't want to scare
you got
anybody.
that bit. You got that bit sticking down. You got the bit sticking down.
Yeah.
You got the bit sticking down, Dennis.
Yeah.
He
Wow.
can't hear you.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself, Dennis.
Hey, I'm Dennis. I live here in Atlanta, and I'm a parent. I'm a single parent with one son, and I'm a late bloomer. So you came late in life. So I'm steady learning lessons every single solitary day. I think the topic's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be filled with information, and I guess we're gonna learn from each other today.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about you, because your journey's been it's a big journey, and you're still on it.
My thing keeps falling out.
Tell us about you and what you're going through right now and been going through. Just a little bit.
You say me,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can, Melissa. Just a little bit.
Okay.
You talking about Melissa or me?
No, you, Dennis.
Oh, me. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Real short. I'm battling cancer and trying to balance. My son, he's been through it from the beginning, from the very beginning, and it's a long journey. Battling cancer. Currently, I'm dealing with liver cancer, stage 4 tumor, and the diagnosis I got a couple of months ago, the prostate cancer. Even though I had a prostatectomy, it has spread. That's not the news I wanted to hear, but we're at a different place now. So it's from the shock, and now I'm trying to find a balance and also share that with my son, and that's always a difficult thing, sharing that, because early on he told me when he was able to talk, he said he didn't like that. I thought he was cool with the doctors, but he wasn't. And so, and it's the first time in all these years that I took him the other day with me, and I know he's uncomfortable. You know, he lives here with me, so he has to know what's going on. And
Absolutely.
he's on ground zero with me. He see the struggle. You know, sometimes
Hmm.
you could hide it, but I can't hide it anymore because it's so much.
And
But
and the wonderful thing is that you don't look like what you're going through. God has
don't
really
look,
touched your life
don't
and
look. You know,
preserving
yeah.
you.
I just quickly. I just had a appointment with my nephrologist, and we did a video, and far as that part with my kidneys, everything is, she said, well, I do have some good news for you. Everything is great. Everything is baseline. You're good. You know, she said, I know the other things, they are what they are. And, you just got to handle them one at a time. Trying to take all that on, it smothers you. I'm not going to lie. It's a huge,
Absolutely.
huge weight. But that's why, you lean on your faith and you trust God. And there's some days where you need some help. You need support. You can't. It's tough to do this by yourself. I can't lie to nobody. Thankful that my son
Absolutely.
is here, and I don't think about. Sometimes I don't think about it because I worry about him. To get up and cook him a meal, the 3 meals, and take him out, and it's been a blessing. Because if I was here by myself, the lights would be off. I'd be in the dark, and suffering with
Mm.
depression and anxiety and all that stuff that comes with it, the mental illness, all that. But I'm grateful because he's here. And that's
That's
the ram in
wonderful.
the bush. Yeah, that's the ram in the bush he gave me, my son. And he's been amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, let's get on with the show. Let's get
Thank you
on.
very much. Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
Thank you.
sharing,
And
Daddy.
Millicent, over to you. Tell us
Over to
a bit
you,
about
Kurt.
you. Uh,
What have you
uh,
done? Muted yourself now.
So are you all waiting on me? Because I'm having issues
We can hear you.
hearing.
we can hear you. You've always had issues.
Don't listen to this dude.
I hear Dennis, but I don't hear anyone else.
That's all you need to hear.
All right.
Oh my God.
All
Wow.
right. So
Take over.
Dennis, can they hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can
Awesome.
hear you. They can hear you.
Okay.
They
Can
can
you,
hear
So
you.
I just need to
you
intro, right? Just cue me in when I'm supposed to speak.
tell her, ask her to intro herself
All right.
and give us a little
So
synopsis about herself.
you want me to go ahead and introduce myself?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. So my name is Millicent, as Paul said, or Debbie, I don't know which one. They're my cousins. They're basically my brother and sister. I grew up with them when I lived in England. My siblings and I lived in England with our grandparents. And we spent almost every summer with them. All the fights, all the everything that brothers and sisters do, we all did that. Paul knows my description of him. I won't put it out on the internet.
And I know
we
about
all
her
just we
description
all
of her
just
as well.
love each other dearly. Dennis has heard us go at it, me and Paul, but it's just out of love.
Um,
I'm a disabled American veteran. I was in the Navy. A few things happened that I won't even go into detail because it's not about, well, one of them is about something similar
Mm,
to what's going on today. Well, the subject matter is today. But I'm a disabled American veteran, and I retired from the Navy and went back to school. When I went back to school, um, I didn't go back to school right away. I was working, taking care of my girls. I have two daughters, and I realized that something was wrong. Something was wrong within me. I kept getting upset all the time about stuff, and just really upset really fast, like I didn't expect it to come. And so I went in to be seen. The VA, found out what that I have PTSD, and I have mental health issues that needed to be addressed, and I was happy to address them. And at first, I didn't try to work with them when I went to my appointments. I just went in and sat and read a book. I was so rude to them, but anyway, eventually, I went through different counselors, and I finally got a counselor that she just sat and looked at me and talked. She just talked. She didn't try to do no mumbo jumbo stuff, nothing. She just talked. And I was able to start talking. And from there I learned about PTSD and how that affects you and your family. Because what was affecting me is going to affect my girls and me trying to raise them. And so because of that, I ended up feeling much better about myself. That things weren't together yet, but it was much better. And I decided to go to school for the same thing that that person was doing, which is master's in social work. And so I have my master's in social work in this area of addictions, um, individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy, spiritual loss, just any kind of loss. So when Paul asked me if I was going to be on the show today, I'm like, yes, what's the subject matter? And he said what it was. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right up my alley. God, what should I do? And so I decided to come on. So I'm here to learn. I'm here to listen. I'm here to impart. And we're going to learn together.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear them,
Can
Melissa?
you hear us now, Melissa?
I'm going to come
Okay.
out
Well,
and I'm going to get out and come back in and see if that helps.
okay.
Can you let them know that?
We'll do it. If she doesn't, then we'll do it for you, Dennis. That you.
Yeah, she says she's gonna go out and come
Yeah, we
back
can
in.
hear her. She just can't hear us.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Melissa, they can hear you. You just can't hear them.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Over to you, Debbie.
Right. So, how to cope with losing your partner? And I asked Paul this question because there's a loss and there's a loss, and you can lose somebody who is dear to you and they're still alive, and you can lose someone who's dear to you and they've transitioned. And I thought it was important for us to look at both, because we are dealing with people who are losing. And I don't think that people realize that when you are married and you divorce, there is such a separation, there's such a death, there is a mourning, there is a grieving that people go through, and people kind of just see it like, oh, they're just divorced. Do you get what I mean? Some people want to have like divorce parties and all of that malarkey, where they feel like, oh, I'm rid of this person. And for some people, they feel like, yeah, this is the best thing that's actually happened to me. I experienced domestic violence with my previous husband. And when we divorced, I thought that I was going to throw a party. I thought like, yeah, but I felt a lot of sorrow. I felt very sad at something that had come to an end, even though I was transitioning into a new life and a new marriage and everything. It was just very, very sad, because I didn't marry to divorce. And, I am one of those people who will just stick with you like glue. My intentions is never, ever to leave. Like when the Bible talks about you becoming one, you're literally one with that person, and so you separating yourself from that person is causing a lot of heartache, it's causing a lot of pain, it's causing a lot of it's more than sadness for some, and so I really wanted us to look at the the two of them. Yeah, I wanted us to look at the two of them because I think that they run parallel. I think that, losing someone in life and losing someone in death, I think they run parallel. And I don't think that people speak enough about losing someone in life. They don't speak about it on the level of mourning and grieving somebody who you once loved, and was very much part of your life. So I think that it was important for us to bring those two conversations to the table today. So I know that all of us here are divorcees, and thank God we haven't lost anyone in who are our partners, but all of us have experienced loss. But that doesn't mean that we can't speak on what it's like to lose someone in death, because I know of people who's actually lost a loved one, and having conversations with them. That's why I'm saying there are some similarities
Yes, very
when I've
much.
spoken to them, and the pain that they felt, and so forth, and still feeling. There are people who are divorcees that never recover from being divorced. And there's some people who lose their loved ones through death and they never recover. And vice versa. There's people who, divorce, and within like a year or 6 months, they're married again. And people who's transitioned, people again are married. And I don't think that there is a time scale for you to grieve and to mourn. I think it's an individual thing. However, what I would say is, for people who have lost in either way, I think that it's a moment in your lifetime. It's a season in your life, and it's not all of your life. And that you must continue to live on, that you must continue to fulfill whatever God has put you on this planet to do. And not to unpack your bags in that season, but really understand that you're going through a process, and that you're going through a season. So that's what I would say about that. I think that the subject matter is deep, and it's meaningful, and it's necessary to have these kind of conversations, as difficult and as challenging as it can be for some people. So over to you, Paul.
Yeah, I was looking at I think it's called Psych Central, and they're covering about divorce as well, yeah, and grief, and isolation. And I'm just going to read some of what it says. It says, grieving a divorce can feel like an isolating process, but you are not alone, and support is available. Divorce can stir up a wide range of emotions, including sadness, relief, like what you were just saying, loneliness, anger, and even grief. Although many associate grief with the death of a loved one, it is also a common emotion to experience after the end of a marriage.
Absolutely.
Grieving after a divorce can be painful, but you can learn how to create some distance from your grief and transition into this new chapter of life with time, some coping strategies. And I just wanted to just talk about that aspect of it. With my first divorce, it took me a good part of 5 8 years, because I didn't know what to do. I never married, like you said, married to divorce, and so I didn't know how to deal with this. I was 23 when I got married, and for all the things that happened in it, and then leading to divorce, I tell you what, I felt like I wasn't in this body no more, because a part of me had died, you know. Um, I didn't know my left from my right, and I just was just grieving, just wanting to still be married, even though there were negative aspects of what was going on in the marriage. And it was, as it said here, like isolating. I felt isolated. If I was talking to someone, I still didn't. There was no comfort in itself. Thank God for God in my life, because I think that's what kept me afloat. First of all, that all grounded me. Yeah, that
Yeah.
grounded me. I don't know about the healing process that I received after. I had to go through it to um, to come to a place to be able to detach myself from what I deemed as failure, because that's what you also feel. You feel that you've failed, you know. Even if it's the other person, you still feel that you failed. And what could I have done better? And you start picking at little things at what you think you could have done and should have done, and you know, I mean, we're going to cover divorce itself as well, because there's more to what I'm saying here, and I don't want to go off on a tangent of that. But I've been married twice before. I'm a divorcee twice, and this is my third marriage. And I can say that there is differences in me from the first one. You know, there's a saying, the first cut is the deepest. You know? But nevertheless, you still grieve because you still feel, was it me? That's the part of it that's more of an impact. Was it me? Did I, what, you know, the first one, you know, it was, even though it's both parties, it is both. You take it on and say, well, this is, I'm the common denominator, you know, that's my first divorce. This is my second divorce. So I must be the problem. So you go through all of that of blaming yourself, and it takes you down to a low place, you know. But the wonderful thing is, number one, having a spiritual connection with God, being able to pray, because sometimes during that process, I couldn't even open my mouth. So thank God for the second thing, people was praying for me. And thirdly, being able to look at all of that and say, I've got to live. Yeah, I have to live for whatever purpose, whether you have children, whether you have your family, friends, close friends, I've got to live. And the first thing I done when I came to that realization is that I shaped up my beard. I say it sounds funny, yeah. I went out, a haircut. I didn't have locks then. Shaped my beard up. I bought a brand new suit. Do you remember the black pinstripe?
Yeah, I do.
I bought some leather skin shoes. What was I doing? I was treating myself.
You was reinventing yourself, bro.
And saying that I'm worth more than what has happened. Yeah. I mean, I went too far with it, you know.
Completely left.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I'm telling you,
turn sweet boy. When he change up into the clothes and get the attention, innit?
You know what? That was grief as well. That was my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't realize that until later on that I had a coping mechanism, and it was the first instance was fine, but then taking it even further and constant and having women in my life, so many women, I was still grieving because here was I with these barriers up. And so I just want to say to some of you, you're going to find yourself, even if you're in it now, or yeah, if you're in it or you come out, whatever, those things are like drugs, you know, smoking or cocaine or whatever else. That's where you're finding the comfort in doing these things. And on a short burst, it's okay. But you need to check yourself if you're constantly doing exactly the same thing like me, that I was woman after woman after woman after, and I wasn't healing. Yeah, I was coping, but I wasn't healing. You know, some of you out there, you're jumping into relationships straight after this because you think, you know what? Hey, I'm celebrating myself. I don't care. You know what? If he don't want me or she don't want me, you know, this one wants me. You need time on your own. I wish this show was going then. You need time on your own to be able to reflect, be able to heal, and be able to come out without all the traumas. Yeah. Because you get into another relationship with these traumas, you're going to end up like me, being divorced a second time. Because I'm a marrying man, you know. I don't want all this, all these women.
Man.
Yeah, I'm a marrying.
Never heard that before, Paul. A marrying man.
Yeah, because guess what? Because it's me.
Yeah, that might be a UK thing. I don't know.
It's the business, the marrying man. You know, but I am that marrying kind. I want that one special person. Like now, I don't need multiples and the crossovers and everything. But that was what I did in order to cope with the trauma that I never dealt with. So even though I was coming out and I was out somewhat, I was too far out. It's like, you know, when the tide goes out and you can walk all the way out. Yo, look how far I've gone. No, that was me. I was right out there. Yeah. Unfortunately, I stood it too long, and the tide came in on me. But
Mm-mm.
I learned how to swim, and I learned how to.
Mm.
Oh, a lot of metaphor there. Yeah, I learned how to
Yeah.
swim and learned how to get to land. You know, and a better man now than then. I want to
Right.
bring Millicent in because of her background. Yeah, because of your background um, in dealing with grief and everything else. So over to you, Millicent. Um,
Over to
we'll
me.
tell you when to stop, basically. Debbie will.
That's great. That's great because you know I can go on and on and on and on.
It's in the
That's
blood.
Yeah.
that's right. That's the running joke in our family. We
I'm
are just
telling you.
chatterboxes. We do not know how to stop. But what we say is usually so profound. So there I go
That's
That's
again.
right.
I'm gonna stop.
Fidelity's
Talk
family now.
about
Yeah.
it.
I'm gonna stop right there. So you want to speak about my personal or what some of the textbook says about grieving?
You can
Grief.
you can you can
Do a bit
cross
of
over with
both.
the two. It's a bit
Okay.
of both.
All right. So this is so on time for me. I just finished a grieving group. We were meeting every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for about 10 weeks. And I learned so much about grieving. I didn't realize that I didn't know. Okay. So there are 6 types of grief, and I'm just going to rattle them off and say one thing about them. So one of them is called material loss, and a material loss is it's a physical object that has an important attachment to us. So all of us can think back to something happened in childhood. We lost a toy, we lost, different things. Personally, I moved within the time. By the time I was 18, I had moved from Jamaica to England to the United States. There were a lot of losses, and I can go through so many. One was this doll that my mom had sent to Jamaica. It was stood like up to about my waist, a little white doll, and its eyes open and close. You know that freaky eye close and
Hmm.
open thing. And but it was my doll, and I couldn't take that with me, and I remembered that. I remembered my Bible. I left it in England thinking I was going back, and I never went back. I wasn't taken back, and so I lost that. But so that's a type of material loss. There's relationship loss, of course. That's what we're talking about today. We lose things, childhood experiences, divorce, job change, and personal friendships are regarded as relationship loss. And we're going to dive further into that. Based on what the subject matter is about, mostly relationship loss from a divorce perspective. Intrapsychic loss. That's a child's experience before adolescence, where you're aware of you're losing your childhood. You're going into puberty, and your self image is changing. So it's called an intrapsychic loss. And then a functional loss is like you're losing muscular or neurological functions, and that is that also ties in with losing your confidence, because when you lose something neurologically, you cannot do certain things. And so recently, Paul, your situation, my situation, I am a diabetic and I have neuropathy. So there are times when I am hurting in my hands and my feet. That's neurological loss. Paul can speak to his situation later. And then there's a role loss. Number 5 is role loss. So it's a social role that is lost. It's something that you've become accustomed to in your social network, and all of us have had those where we realize that someone was not the right person for us, and we had to get away from that situation or lose those friends, or what friends in quotation, right? And then the number 6 is systemic loss. Humans usually are a part of a system. This type of loss is mostly forced upon us. So the systemic loss is, like I said, leaving Jamaica, leaving what I was used to. In the summertime, we just run free. We go eat mango, sugar cane, tinkin tour, all kinds of things out there, and then come back before dark. Basically the same thing like what happened in the United States, going out and playing. You come, make sure you come home before dark, right? So we change um states or something, or homes, and we don't have that type of setting outside anymore. You have to stay inside. It's a systemic loss. Or a military person moving from one place to the next, you lose your system, and you have to develop a new system. So those are the six types of losses. There's a new loss, number seven, that just came up, but I can talk about that at the very end. Um, so some of the losses that I've had were never dealt with, and they can cause you to become ill, because when you don't deal with trauma and things that happen in your life, it causes inflammation in your body, and inflammation in the body turns into diseases somewhere, whether it's getting diabetes or IBS from the stomach, or migraines, headaches. Which those are three things that I have issues with. I'm a very open person. You can ask me anything and I'll answer it. I don't have anything to hide. And so those are some of the things that happen from not dealing with trauma, serious trauma. Um, we had a session here on Gym Time on molestation and sexual trauma. And that's one of the things that I never got to deal with because it happened as a child. Nobody gonna believe me. I never dealt with it. So I dealt with it in the military. They have something called military sexual trauma, where they have you come in and you can talk to a counselor about a specific counselor for this type of trauma, because it is so specific and it can cause so many other issues in relationships and the way you deal with people and your socials. Because I used to look at men and just say, don't even breathe in my space. Just like that. Don't it don't even matter to me. I don't really care what you think. But I'm better now. I'm more appreciative of men now, from going through some of these classes and counseling that I've been through. One of the things that they suggest when you go through social work classes is that they suggest that each one of the students go to counseling go to counseling and get yourself right, because there's something in social work. While you're being a therapist for someone, social work is a therapist. So as a therapist, someone could come into the room and I'm going to help this client, and because they mention some kind of trauma they had, like being molested, maybe at the same age, maybe in almost the same way, I get
Triggers.
upset. It triggers, right? You
Mhm.
you feel this thing inside of you that just come up. It's called transference. So transference is when you hear the same thing, and now you couldn't take care of it then, but you're gonna take care of it now. So you're gonna tell them what to do, how to take care of it, instead of working with that person and trying to help them to be a better
Mm,
person about it.
mm.
So it's suggested that anyone in this field, in this area, life coaching, anything like that, we need to go to counseling ourselves and make sure we get our stuff out,
Absolutely.
on the table. So I can stop there unless you want to stop
No, tell us.
me.
You're divorcee as well. Tell
Yeah.
us how you dealt with that situation, or didn't deal with it, or how it impacted you.
So I didn't deal with it. Um my
You're divorcee like me twice, aren't you?
yeah. So the first one, I didn't deal with it. I I was married for 6 months before I realized I shouldn't have been married. And that's because he started cheating and doing things that he shouldn't be doing. And after speaking with his family to find out more about why this person was being like this, I found out that he had trauma. He had some serious trauma. He saw his father kill his mom. And so nobody ever dealt with that. Nobody ever talked about that. And so those are that type of trauma can cause you to be a different kind of person. He'll fight you in a minute. He'll just punch you in your face if you say the wrong thing.
Hmm.
Thankfully I didn't have that, but I had other types of trauma with him where he tried to physically hurt me. And so after about 2 years, um I I'm very open, and I don't mind putting this out because somebody on the internet can hear this and it helped them. I came home and he was at home in our bed with someone, and I said, "Oh, this is the ultimate. I just cannot do this." I was in the military at the time. We had a daughter. I took her and our car, went back to my job, got 30 days vacation, and drove home. Drove back to the East Coast to Philadelphia, where my siblings and my family, my mom was, and told them that I need to be gone when I get back. Because I didn't know what to do with that. I don't want you anymore. Why would I even be with a person like that? And then when I came back, he wasn't gone, so I helped him to leave. I can go into detail, but not right now. I help him to leave. I help him to I help him to leave, right? That's how I'm gonna put it. And when he was gone, I went ahead and signed up. Just before I left for those 30 days, I went to the base and signed up for base housing because I knew I couldn't handle the rent and all that stuff by myself. So I just said, let me have something ready when I come back. When I came back, he wasn't there. He was there. We did what we need to do, and then I moved on base. So I just moved away from him. He went somewhere, I went somewhere. And I told him that he can go live on the moon as far as I'm concerned. That is not my problem anymore. You are not my issue, my problem, my part of my life. Nothing. The only thing is our daughter. And if you don't treat her right, I'll take care of you. Don't play with me like that. So um it that's how my life went. And I never dealt with it. Never dealt with it. Didn't want to date, didn't want to do nothing, just went to work, take care of my daughter, and take care. You hear that? Anyway,
Mhm.
take
Do you
take
feel
care
like
of.
you took some of that into your second marriage and how you
Mhm.
Absolutely, you would
dealt
have.
with? Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I I took the I took the hurt into the next marriage because I had not dealt with what happened and learn how to love myself and treat myself good. And so I de- I wasn't depending, but it was nice to have someone give me attention, not to only realize that this was a narcissistic person. I didn't
Mm.
realize that. And so it took me a long time. For me, that was a long time, which was another 2 to 3 years to figure out that this was a very, 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 very toxic situation.
That's very
I
then. That's a lot of berries.
Yeah, I agree.
and
That's
I
a
needed.
lot of berries.
It's a
I
very,
think you said
very,
five,
very,
five
very.
berries.
Yeah, man,
My
I'm
God.
telling you, it
My
was it
God.
was serious because I had gotten to the point where I was planning to hurt this person for life, planning it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it was going to be very, very serious, and I was ready to do whatever I needed to do, spend time, you know, remembering it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it
Yep.
was a narcissistic relationship. Um, the only way I was able to get out of it is I remembered who I was in God. I remembered that. I held on to that no matter what was happening, no matter what type of physical stuff was happening, mental stuff was happening, emotional, everything. I held on to God. I would get up and go to church. I would get up and go to church. That was my refuge, to go to church. And I remember one time I was fasting and using a book, like a interactive book to fast. You write down how you're feeling and you write down scriptures that you use in that day to get you through the fast. And he came up and he was, I mean, I had to be demonic. Just came over and boxed the book out of my arm, just right. And I'm like, immediately my heart started beating. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? Because this person is now becoming violent, right? Whereas in the past it was just narcissism, just I don't know if you ever heard of Metro Boy. The way a Metro Boy is, in the mirror all the time looking at themselves. They got to be prettier than you, cuter than you, hair better than you. That kind of life was the way he
Mm,
lived. And so he boxed the book out of my hand, and I just sat there and waited because I just expected him to hit me, but I was
Mm.
praying. I'm fasting, and I'm thinking there is no way on earth God is going to allow that. But my humanity was saying that's what he's gonna do. That's what he's gonna do. That's trauma right there. That is terrible. And
Yeah.
so taking the not realizing my worth, my who I am, and what I brought to the table into the marriage. I didn't have that taken to the marriage. Then you were able to I was able to be easily taken advantage of. So, yeah.
hmm. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
You want to say anything, Abby?
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about what you were saying, and the
You're after. You, sorry, Dennis. You're after Debbie.
yeah, the traumas of your first marriage naturally, like you said, was brought over into your second marriage. Do you think because you never healed from your first marriage that you chose wrong in the second marriage?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because that typically happens, that because there's unresolved issues, you have kind of like blinkers on, so you're not looking, you're not observing, you're not in the right space and frame of mind to choose someone, that is more suited to you. So I wanted to ask you, in terms of you losing, your partner, because it is a loss, how do you think that impacted upon you emotionally?
Um, it was very scary. It was scary because now I had a child and I had to take care of that child by myself. And what about the future of this child and her father? What about their relationship? How am I supposed to navigate that? I don't want to see him. I don't want to be with him. Um, so how am I supposed to navigate that? So I did go to counseling. I was trying to make it real short, so I didn't cover every single thing. But I did go to counseling. I had a counselor. The counselor suggested that we both come. I said, that's not gonna happen. First of all, I don't want that. But I was convinced to bring him because it would be better for the relationship, the couple, to come to counseling. And it turned out to be a bad decision. I should have just stuck with my gut feeling. Um, he just We would be there and he would do his nodding his head, yes, no, whatever. And we'd leave there and he would just, oh my gosh, just be very, very rude, disrespectful, mean. So losing my partner, going to counseling did not help at the time. Um, so I had to.
Oh, we gone.
Mm,
Oh wow.
We gone.
mm.
Gone, man.
There you
Is she
go.
back? She
Yeah, there
back?
you are.
She
And
back?
it was
She
scary.
back?
Yeah.
We just heard the last bit and it was scary.
We
We
didn't
just
hear the
heard
we didn't hear it all.
But it's okay.
when did she
We
come
got the
in?
gist.
So Dennis, I wanted to ask you,
Can you guys hear me?
yeah, we can hear you now. Dennis, see if you can speak to her, see if she can hear you.
Can you hear them?
All right.
She
She's
gone.
going to go and come back. Go on, Debbie.
She's
Ask
gonna come
Dennis.
back. She's the
So
magician. The magician.
yeah, so Dennis, in regards to the loss of your marriage, do you kind of feel like there are those similarities in death? Do you subscribe to that? Do you think that they're that tearing away, that loss, that there are similarities?
Oh my God! When you are commitment phobic, I grew up my life. I would say why God put. I remember I got engaged a bunch of time, but I never intended on getting married. I never thought that was. I didn't grow up seeing that. I just I said, why would God put all these women on the earth for you to be with one. That's my sick thinking, you know, and
That's a
you know,
flesh.
I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see me saying I'm gonna be with one person for the rest of my life. Make it make sense, guy. Make it make sense. The math don't add up, you know. And that's my immaturity.
The
I've
math
come
ain't math.
light. I've come light years from that. I just didn't know when you do dumb things as a young man. You think you're gonna be here forever, and you're not. And I learned a valuable lesson. I waited, and I thought I found the person of my life. You know, the woman of my dreams. And but that was very painful, man. That was one of the most. I've had all these surgeries. I've never felt that much pain in my life. You know, you
Wow.
want something, and that something don't want you. You know, no matter how you twist it, no matter how you turn it, no matter how you flip it, that person when she left, she had already planned, and women are great planners. You guys are fabulous planners. I mean,
Absolutely.
you got it. No, for real. I mean, I was playing checkers and she was playing chess. I just didn't know she had been planning for many years to leave. And
Wow.
the thing that was holding us back. I mean, I learned all this stuff after the fact. Here, you see, when you right up close on it, you can't see it. But when you get up 1,000 feet up in the air, you can see it so clear. You're like, man, what I was thinking, what I was doing. You know, sometimes love it blinds us. You know, and I never. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've after my was born, our son was born. There was no more intimacy in my marriage, but I was
Mhm.
committed. You understand? I was committed. Never forget that time. I'm a proponent of therapy. I would tell any man, especially black men, I would speak loud to you with a bullhorn. Go get therapy. No, not with her. You need it. Not her. You need it. You the one.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
difficult when that mirror turns on you and you have to reflect from within. It's very difficult for a man to face himself in the mirror because you already know when you feeling whatever you feeling, your woman's intuition telling you it is what it is. You could be in denial all you want. You understand? But the man, he knows that, and you know, you give him enough rope, he gonna hang himself. I
Mm.
remember I got engaged. I just got engaged, man. But the girl put a lot of pressure on me, and I was scared. I didn't want to lose her. I didn't want to get married neither. So I got the ring and did all that. About candlelight, the whole 9 yards. Bought this $6,000 ring.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
Paul, you could throw your shoe at me right now. Now you could throw your shoe at
Yeah,
me.
man.
I was a little youngster, you
Throw
know,
both of them
and we
at
had this,
you.
yeah, we had this big argument. I called, I went get this ring, and she told me, she said she was at work and she had a baby. She had a little girl, Latoya. She's a doctor now, matter of fact. And we still friends. We still close, very close to till this day. And she told me, uh, I don't want that ring. I said, well, hold on. I bought the ring. The ring was, I thought it was nice. It was $1,000. I like, no, 12 or 1,300. And she said her friend had this ring at Zales. And I'm like,
Wow.
man, that ring all is supposed to represent the endless love we have for each other. I already had my little line for her, and she wasn't trying to hear that. Well, you already know you want that big rock. And so anyway, she told me about her girlfriend at Zale. So I told her I'm not getting no ring. I mean, man, that's crazy to spend that kind of money, you know. Well, I didn't know what the ring cost at the time. She had like some marquise. I don't know that. Maybe one day I'll learn about a ring because I think a ring is a ring. And so I go to Zales and she tells me the ring is. I said, well, look, Cynthia called and she's saying that the she don't like the ring and that's a nice ring I got. She said, yeah, no, Dennis, no, Dennis. She said, no, this is the ring. I said, well, where the ring at? She showed me the ring. I said, I don't see the difference in the ring. She said, but that ring is on sale for $6,500. I'm like, what? And I couldn't leave the store without getting the ring. I got the ring. I got the ring like a fool, you know, got the ring, and we had a candlelight dinner. She knew she was getting the ring, and I'm gonna make you laugh because we was praying right before the meal, and I took it out, and when she picked her head up, it was on the edge of her plate, and she just know I'm getting that old ring. I ain't satisfied, you know. She had that old look on her face, but but when she got it off when she opened it, she started crying. Me too. I'm crying too. But we crying for two
Yeah.
different reasons. She crying because she got her ring, and I'm crying. I look, all my money's on her finger right now. So, you know, and man, I was, man, I tell you, that hit me hard for a long time. But bring me back, fast forward, you know, and I knew it was a feeling I had, that I realized that to be with one person is the most beautiful thing. You know, you're gonna go through some bumps in the road. You will. And when I married my wife, I've never in my life been more ready for anything than that moment. I
In
was so
the
ready.
Go and have a
box.
look.
I I was so ready to get married and to move on with my life. And that was the happiest, one of the happiest day of my life, other than when our son was born. When he was born, that eclipsed all that, right? And I'm thinking, I'm in this forever. I'm not, no matter what happens, I'm not going anywhere. But you cannot be in a place where you're not happy. You just can't. And if you're not
Yeah.
spiritually connected, if you're not praying one for another, covering your man and your man covering you, it's tough, man. Because you want something so bad that that other person don't want it, you know. And when she left, I was on the sofa and I cried out to God. I said, God, what is this? What is this? Well, I mean, God, I love this woman. I love my baby. I mean, why you give me this and you take it away from me? What I did? Why did you take the love of my life away from me? And he pointed me into the right direction, therapy.
Hmm.
And I learned something. It took me a while to know what I know. It took a long time. And he sat us there, and he said, he said she agreed to come with me to therapy, but her whole idea was just she wanted some type of documentation. She never was into to the therapy, you know, and you can't force something on somebody that won't do it. It'll never ever
Mm,
work, because you're gonna be looking
never.
for their commitment, and they never commitment. You're gonna still be fussing, arguing. You're gonna still be worried. He just there, he just there, just like a wall. He might well be looking at wet paint dry, because he ain't gonna do nothing and she ain't gonna do nothing. But what she told the therapist, he asked her on a scale from 1 to 10, one being the worst, no, one being the best, 10 being the worst. How much, how much do you want to work on this relationship? And she said a 20, and she laughed and she walked out the room. And I cried.
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I cried. And he just, I think I told you that before. He said, look at you, man. You're snotting all over the place. He said, why would she want you? Why would any woman want you? That pitiful, you know? And I like that kind of talk. You understand? It wakes you up. I don't want you to sugarcoat
Hmm.
it. I want you to
Straight
tell me
talking. Yeah.
exactly, straight talk, what it is and what it is. And it was a long and painful. I thought about this woman every minute of the day, every second, everywhere. I cried when somebody don't want you. I had no desire for no other woman. I never cheated. And in my mind, I was telling myself when I got married, I said to myself that the only way, man, you're gonna get a divorce if you cheat. That's it. And you can't come back once you cheat. I said, once I cheat, I ain't. And that's why I never cheated. I always say, I looked at women and I always said to myself, what she do what my wife do? It always came back no to me. Always. It's opportunities all over the place. The enemy is lurking everywhere, and he knows your weaknesses. And if you
Yeah.
put yourself in those positions, if you find yourself in those positions, you're gonna do the do and you're gonna cry. You put yourself, sometimes you look over there and the grass, you think the grass is greener, but when you get over there, you're like, wow, why would I trade that for this? Why did I do all that? And men, and even when you divorce, they also like they get in these relationships, and that relationship worse than the one she left. That's why I say I'd rather deal with the crazy I know than the
Artificial
crazy I
grass.
don't know. The one that's across the street, I'd rather deal with the one that's right in front of me.
I like
The
that. Yeah,
pain, the amount of pain
absolutely.
and
Grass is like,
suffering, the amount of pain and suffering you go when you love somebody is the hard. I don't care what nobody say. It's hard to let that go. Man, this thing was right here like an elephant on my chest. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, everywhere I went, and that person didn't want me until he made it clear to me. My head was rock solid hard, man. I want this woman back. And at the end of the day, you know, um, you can't love somebody that don't want you. If that person don't want you, you better get on with life,
Hmm.
because this life about living it. You know, you waiting for somebody or waiting for that train. That train has left the station and ain't coming back. It ain't coming back. You,
So
Yeah.
Dennis, what about somebody who, because that's obviously in life, and like I was saying, there's parallels. So what about somebody who, like, for you, there was, even though there was, she said that there's no hope, you were still hoping in God
absolutely.
that he possibly can have a change of heart, right? But what about those people who do not have that opportunity ever again to even look at that person, to even talk to that person, to even touch that person? Their whole hope and the possibility of that person ever being in their lives again is totally gone.
Yeah. I think you live with regret. You know, you live with a lot of regret. You know, um, I think let me back up. So early in my marriage, I trusted, man. I've never trusted nobody like that before. I mean, I put all my guards down. I mean, I literally trust this lady to. I mean, I never seen. I, I just never did. And she was in the shower, and we never lock our phones. My son was. I don't even think my son was 1 year old, and I was sitting just like I'm sitting here, and the phone was right next to me, and the phone buzzed, and I saw a message. I've never had a jealous spirit. I just always thought that I just felt good about myself. I just never, had nobody cheat on me that I know of. You understand? I was the cheater. I was the one did whatever I did. And so the phone rang, it buzzed, and I saw a picture come up, and then, but I don't know everybody she knows. Just like she don't know everybody. Even though I'm married to her, that's why you have to know your person in the beginning. It's all lovey-dovey in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're blinded by what you see, the physical, the money, the car, the house, all that. You get blinded by that. But that person have a deep, dark secret that you are not aware of. You've seen it, but you just put it in the back because you only see what you see in the front. And so I say I just hit it, and then I see the message, and oh my God, it took my breath away. I mean, she told that guy, there's nothing my husband could ever do that I would ever want him again.
Mm.
You understand?
See
I
that,
stayed
that's
married.
like an arrow. That's an arrow and a
Yeah, I mean,
dagger.
I stayed
A,
married
a,
still for
a
another
spear.
7 years here. But she
It
told that
is.
guy, there's nothing I could ever do that would ever. And so I never knew her to lie. I've never trusted nobody like that. And then when she got out of the shower, and then also, men and women, when you're cheating, you're trading. Say that man is having, he's telling you he has problems with his wife. You telling him, vice versa, and they
That's right.
trading war stories. That
Yeah.
relationship will never work. It will never ever work. You can't.
Absolutely.
It'll never work. You understand? So he's talking about her, about his wife, and they talk about each other, and she dog. I mean, she dog like, oh my God, and he's telling her, look, come on to Miami. He said, "Come on, we're gonna drink some Mai Tais on me. We live here in Atlanta to fly to Miami, and so she got out the shower. When she got out the shower, I wasn't mad. I said, who's that? And she started telling me a series of lies. Because I already read the text now. Whatever I tell her, I knew the answer already. But she's lying,
Yeah.
constantly lying to me. And I said, I read the text, and she tells me, I said, look, I want to tell you something. Listen, you can go. You can go to Miami. I'm gonna take care of AJ. Now you can go, and he gonna do you what I used to do. You see what he did? He ran game on. I look for women like you. That was my MO. I look for people that was in trouble. That nice looking women who was in trouble. The man did something, and I came. I'm talking that talk for him. I had a silver tongue, and they would bite. And I said, you can go, but you're gonna leave our son here. Oh, then she wanted to tell me all this stuff, and I stayed because I was committed, and I love this woman. Love is a son of a gun, man. That's why,
Mm.
you got to take love out of the equation, man. You got to use your common sense. Sometimes the brain don't connect with the heart, and you find yourself in big trouble, because you love that person. You better love yourself. Love yourself more to walk away from that situation, because that person is damaged good. She had some trauma in her life. She
Love
never took care of
yourself.
it. I had trauma in my life. I never took care of it. But and we had two people that wouldn't believe us. You understand? She would tell people all the time. You see, we drop nuggets. They drop nuggets to you. You said that you're not paying attention. And she told me, she was saying, she would tell people everywhere we go, my husband got more faith than me. You see, she has to see it to believe it. I don't have to see it to believe it. And
Right.
she left in the beginning of when she knew I had cancer. She still left. She left, and that was her thing. She was so, and whatever she was holding back all those years, when I was on my knees begging, she stood over me and she told me everything she held everything. And
See,
she
and that's why
presents
it's
the.
important. Every show that we do, we talk about
Mhm.
this thing with communication. It's so
Absolutely,
important
Paul.
to
Absolutely.
have that
Absolutely.
openness, because you never plan on getting in with someone or marrying someone to end it. And those people who just marry because and knowing full well they're gonna be unfaithful and they eventually, you don't mean that much to me, go away.
Mm.
Then there, number one, you've got trauma. Number two, there's no depth to you because you're not trying to climb out of the pit. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Paul, it's not about love,
me
because
being married
love should
now, what
love should have brought you home. Love would have brought you home. It ain't about no
Absolutely.
love.
should have
It's about
Absolutely.
exactly
communication. It's
real
about
love,
loyalty. It's
real
about
love.
trust. You understand?
And
We
commitment.
stop talking. The minute
Yeah.
something happens, we stop talking, and we might go days and weeks, and we don't talk. We thinking, well, I ain't gonna say nothing if she don't say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. Look, talk to that person on a good day when the sun is out. It's beautiful. You don't have no issue.
It's,
The other
it's if,
day what you did, it bothered me. Can we talk
mhm.
about it? I'm not saying you can't let this thing compound, because if
Yes.
you don't give it a couple of hours, I'm not taking go to the next day. Give it a couple of hours. Wait, get your thoughts together, be calm, and say, baby, can we talk? I learned this thing. You understand? Baby, can we talk? Can we
See,
talk? Can I
some
can
people out there, sorry to cut you there. Some people
No,
out
you're
there
good, you're good, you're good.
would have tried this, and either one, he doesn't want to talk or she doesn't want to talk. They don't want to express what's in their heart. But this is what I'm going to say. And I'll say to you guys out there listening, if you find yourself in that situation, that you are the only one who's trying, or, vice versa, he's trying or you're trying, you've got to check yourself. You've got to look at yourself. If your significant other is trying and you're not, what is preventing you? You might be harboring some kind of there's a word that I want. You're hostile. There's a word that I want.
Hostility.
Huh?
Hostility.
Yeah. Um, grudge.
Yeah.
There's another word for it. I'm trying to
Uh-huh.
process in my mind. You might be holding all these things in your heart against them. No one said that a relationship, marriage is going to be easy. I use this analogy, and I'm gonna forever use it. Look at a plug. You know, you have there's three wires, but there's only two that really is the main thing that makes it work: the negative and the positive. Take out one and see if it works. It doesn't work. Yeah. So even when we look at a current, how it runs, it's it's reflecting life. Life isn't just like ooh, ooh, because if it was, then how would we ever learn? If there's difficulties, how would we learn how to be patient? How would we learn how to forgive? How we're going to learn to like? So it's that we have to take into consideration that you're gonna go through. Yeah, before you ever go and get married. Yeah, I would say, and it's true now. I say it. You need premarital counseling. You need to be transparent with one another and talk. If you've got pain from the past, and even if you don't recognize that it's trauma, but you know that something um, traumatic happened in your life, talk to your significant other. Yeah, if you go down the aisle with all of that and all these things, it's gonna raise its head in that
That's why you
marriage.
have to know your person.
It's
You
not.
you You have to know
Yeah,
your person, Paul.
it's
You
not.
know when you
But
see somebody, there's something that attracted you to that person. You that person fine or
right.
whatever. There's just something that attracts you to that person, right? And then that person has done
Mhm.
some things over the years that you let slide, and all of a sudden now in the fourth, fifth year you want to put your foot down, but you should have put your foot down 4 or 5 years
When it
ago,
happens.
and now you're trying to correct it, and that person, of quite naturally, that person gonna be angry and get upset, and you'll never get to a place where you're gonna be able to talk because that person always gonna be on the defensive side. And when a man is blaming you, I'm talking about a man because I'm a man. I can only speak about us because I know us. And
Mhm.
when I start blaming you and I say you're doing this and that, that's because I'm doing something. I'm hiding something. I always say less is more. When I was out there in the world, I say less is more because it's to my advantage. You know,
Yeah.
and if you don't try to do your best investigative investigation when you're with that person, I know you fine, I know you look good, I know you drive a nice car, you got a great job and all that, but you got to look at his past. You got to ask him about his relationship with his mother, his relationship with his sisters,
Oh.
his siblings. Man, it's
Mm.
gonna open up
Mm.
if you're really serious about marrying
'Cause
somebody and you want to be. But now we here, we married. It's too late now. We talking about now.
to
Somebody
right.
that person leaves you. You got all these
Right.
emotions, man. I had emotions, Debbie. I never knew I had. I mean, man, I didn't even know I had that in me. You understand? And it
But
surprised
that's
me.
what
That's
happens.
right. Yeah, I
I
didn't
think
want to
that's what
let go.
happens when you lose somebody. You can identify that these emotions are actually there, but it's
Yeah.
only at that point that
Yes.
you can identify it. But you know what it is? It's for you to take it into the next. It's for you to understand that these things were laying dormant and they needed to come to
Yeah.
the surface. And the only way that
Yeah.
they will come to the surface is through challenges. The only way that we get the goodness out of you, the juice,
Hmm.
crushing the grapes, you're going to get the juice. Crushing
Hmm.
the coal, you're going to get the gold. Do you get, I mean, the diamond, sorry.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
going to get that because of the crushing. If you didn't
Right.
experience that, you would have never known what you had in you. I
That's
wanted
so
to pause
true.
for a moment and I wanted to read some of these. There's a question there, and I'm going to throw it out to anyone. And Truffle Buffet says, earlier on in the conversation, she said you can't cover each other if you are unequally yoked. God knew. And I think that she was saying that in regards to something that you mentioned earlier on, Dennis. This is the question that I'm going to throw out to anyone. Was there forgiveness to the people that hurt you in order for you to heal? I think that was you, Dennis, actually.
Hmm.
Um, was there forgiveness to the people that hurt you in order to heal? Or was that to you, Mel? I'm not too sure because that came
I
in.
think. I think we
Yeah, I
can
think.
all answer on that one as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I think
Mm,
Um,
the part. I remember when after I did the therapy, right? Even after I did the therapy, you understand. We still wounded. You understand what I'm saying? Time heal, not time. God heals that, not time. Time. God is the father of time. But I went to her one day, and I just put the ball in her court. And when I approached her at her home, outside, and she started had that she got raised voices. Hold on, wait a minute, I'm right here. Why are you fussing? I said, I'm gonna tell you something. I forgive you. I didn't forgive you for you, no. I forgive you for me. I said, girl, I'm trying to get to heaven. I made enough mistakes. I have. I'm releasing you. Now, whatever you do with
mm,
that, that's on you. That's on you. You deal with you. I've done the work. I've put in the work, a lot of work. I must put in work till the day I die. Because this life
mm,
here, you carry these burdens, man. Don't carry them with you to the grave. You got to let it go. You got to let it go at all costs
mm,
because it ruins everything around you. The people around you say, why people, why? You know what I was doing? I was very defensive. I wanted to prove my point to everybody. And I told you guys the last time, my therapist said, Mr. Dennis, I know you. Why are you so defensive? And I got defensive with her. She said, Mr. Dennis, I want to tell you something, Mr. Dennis. She said, I want to tell you something. You see, you trying to explain yourself to people, they going to believe whatever they're going to believe, no matter what you say. I will tell you this, Mr. Dennis, just keep living, and things gonna
mhm.
change. You understand? It may not change in the time that we want, but it's gonna change. You understand? It's a difficult thing. I'm telling y'all. I'm not saying that
No,
came overnight. I'm not saying it just happened. I'm telling you, when you feel that self-determination that you want to get better, you've made enough mistakes. I made enough mistakes in my life, you understand? But if you're with someone and you
Well,
go to them and you apologize to them and they have an unforgiving heart, that's on them. You've
That's
already
on them.
released it to
mhm.
them.
Absolutely.
You released it to
Let me
them.
just
And a
let me just
person,
read.
if a person don't want you, and that was the hardest thing I had to deal
Yeah,
with
oh,
was not
hmm,
wanting me, the loss. You understand? And I was
yeah.
embarrassed. You know what? I was embarrassed going home. When everybody saw my wife, they're, oh man, you got a beautiful man, Dennis, a little kid. I was, and when I went, I was so
Well,
embarrassed that.
let me just read this a second. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this is from Psych Central. It says there is no set formula or timeline for how long grieving a divorce
Right.
will take. So there is no right or wrong answer in terms of how it affects you or a loved one going through it. That is the truth. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
me, I, I needed to forgive myself
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost. I had to forgive myself for the way I thought, for the things that I like you, Mara. I was planning something. Oh, was I planning something? And it was the fact that my child slept in the bed with her. Why it never ever happened or materialized from that because loving my child. But I was planning. I allowed every negative thought to come into my mind. But later on, I focused on, for those who have children, I focused on my child. I realized that this is over. This person don't want me. I nearly got killed in America, as I think I've told all of you. I had a gun in my neck and my head was smashed open, but I was still married. And when I went back and she used these words, I don't love you. Because I asked her, I said, do you love me? I knew she didn't love me. Yeah, because the first thing someone who loves you, knowing that you could have died, there's a response. It's like a call and response. Something happened to me, so there is a response that's supposed to be, and it's normal. Yeah.
It's normal.
Some people will say, no, everyone's different. No, it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
The words of, I don't know what I would have done. How are you feeling? Yeah. Let me see. From even this day, she hasn't looked in my head. I had to get over those obstacles because she didn't, like she said, I don't love you how a wife should love a husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the mountaintop echoing, hello, hello. I needed to understand what she said in
Mm-hmm.
order to release myself, forgive myself for all the things, negative things that I thought, forgive myself for trying to throw myself into the fire to keep her, and be able to walk away and say, I understand what she said now. So what I then is focused on my son and sowing into my son. That's a whole different story, what I went through with that. But eventually I would go to the house in the morning to take my son to school. She needed to go to work. I said, would you like a lift? Sometimes she took it, sometimes she didn't. I had to learn to be kind to the person who hurt me. I had to learn to love this person as a person, even though you caused me trauma. Yeah. Or I allowed you to cause me trauma. Yeah. Once I started that process as well, I started to see forgiveness until I actually said to her, you know, um, I'm sorry. Did he hear? I didn't ask, I didn't say I forgive you. I'm sorry for what I caused you in any capacity, because you see, we want them to say to us, oh, I'm sorry.
That's right.
No,
You're waiting for them.
I bought something. I would have bought something that caused cause and effect. Something, even if it was a crumb, that crumb is my 100% that affected her. So I had to say that I'm sorry for the way I acted that caused you pain. Not caused you how you acted towards me and what did and start listening. No, what caused you pain. Now it is up to her if she wanted to ever say it to me. I apologized to every one of my exes. Yeah, and even
Every
girlfriends
one of
from
them.
way back then. Huh?
Every one of them. You managed to find them all.
Every I did actually. Yeah,
Paul,
before
Paul,
before
you
we
you
before
need a crown and a cape, man. You're a crown and a cape. You got
I learned a long time ago. Even girls that I even went to their house and they want to close the door in my face, but their hand wouldn't close this door. What are you doing here? I said, I just want to apologize to you for the way that I
Yeah,
acted and the things that
yeah.
I said to you that caused you any anguish and
Those are the
pain.
ones that those
And
are
I
the
just
ones
want
that Paul
you.
remember, yeah. Those are the ones that Paul
Yeah,
remember.
No,
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember. Listen,
I wanted to
yeah.
as
I
it
want you
happened.
to
No,
I want,
hold on. As it happened and it dissolved, I then would find the time to do it. So if I never ever
Mhm.
saw them again, I released myself.
absolutely.
Honestly. Anyway, that,
Yeah,
go
I'm just
ahead.
being
yeah, yeah,
frantic.
yeah.
I wanted to share something. So we're talking about, you know, dealing with the loss of a partner, and we've mentioned that this is in life via a divorce or in death. And I think that one of the things that people, like I said it in the beginning at the top of the show, is that people acknowledge grief, yeah, and they only really liken that to death. And I want us to be cognizant of the fact that there is a grieving process when somebody experiences divorce as well. And this is why, like you said it really eloquently, Mel, when you said, or should I say Millicent, when you said that you know, you experienced the trauma and the loss of the first relationship, and you brought that into the second one. And that's probably because you didn't go through any grieving process. You didn't allow yourself to grieve, because sometimes, especially when you've been hurt, you can become bitter, your heart can
Mhm.
become hard. And so there is no room for grief because you're so angry. Grief is a mourning process. It's a stepping back. It's a feeling in the heart and in the soul that you acknowledge that this person is actually gone from my life. And if you're busy being angry, if you're busy feeling bitter and unforgiveness, you're not going to go through that grieving process. And you know what? Further down the line, you may feel this sorrow, you might feel this loss, you might feel this void, and you might be thinking, where is this coming from? Like, you know, it's got nothing to do with nothing, but it could be that process that you should have gone through years ago in grieving the loss of that loved one in
Mhm.
a divorce. And I wanted to share this scripture because, you know, you said it earlier on, it's only God really who can deal with, like you said, you initially said time will heal, and then you said no, God will heal because he is the God of time. Yeah.
Mhm.
And this scripture is in Psalms 34 and verse 18, and it's not a Bible study, but I really want people to
Mhm.
understand about how to lean into God at times of grief, of great grief, whether that's in the person divorcing you, or you get into a place where you're having to divorce somebody because they've been unfaithful, because
Mhm.
they have broken that covenant. And it says, Psalms 34 verse 18, it says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves
Yes, yes,
who
yes.
are crushed in spirit.
Yeah,
That's what happens. Your spirit is crushed, your heart is broken,
Absolutely.
and it's necessary to take out time to heal. You know, the world will have it that you run into relationships, or you self-medicate on, and this is
yeah.
like if you've lost someone in death or
Mhm.
through divorce. You know, find something to fill that void, find something to make you feel happy. And there's nothing wrong with you feeling happy, but it's joy that you actually need.
Yeah.
Happiness is
Happiness is temporary.
determined on a situation or a circumstance, but when you've got joy inside, and you only can get joy through God healing
Yeah.
your soul, and it's it's so necessary for people to go through the grieving process. It's necessary for you to take out that time and say, this is a loss for me. This is how I feel. I feel the pain. And you know what it is? People don't want to experience that pain, and I get it. That's why the vices are there. But when you stand in that pain and you cast all of that to God, and I'm saying this through experience, when you say, you know what, God, this is, do you know why you cast it to God? When you sit in that pain, because it becomes too much for you to handle. When you have the vices cushions kind of the blow. It doesn't, it's there to mask the pain. But when you don't have no vices and you stand in that pain, it becomes so overwhelming that you're like, I cannot even do this by myself. And that's
Right.
what God says, cast all your cares upon me,
Yes,
because I care for you. And
care
it's
for
only at
you.
that time where you're fully absorbed in that grief that you say, I'm gonna hand it over. But when you hand it over, the Bible says that God gives you beauty for ashes. He gives you
Yes.
something in exchange
Yes.
for that pain.
Yes.
He gives you joy. He gives you peace. He
Yes.
allows you to come through that situation quicker than if you was to spend 10 years in drugs, 10
Yeah.
years smoking weed, 10 years drinking alcohol and having sex. He will bring you through that process so much quicker than you can even imagine. And so I really wanted people really to think about what they do when they're grieving. And something you said earlier on as well, Dennis, like you mentioned about, you know, experiencing the loss, and when you was expressing it, I could feel the emotions behind it. And I remember when like, I haven't lost anyone in death, and this is what you said something about, you know, all of what kind of happened before didn't really matter, you know, because you now wanted this person, you was willing to put things to the side, kind of thing. And I remember when my husband had an accident in a couple of years ago, 2022, and he had this accident, and I, you know, we was having contention and issues in our marriage, you know, still quite new to the marriage and finding our footing, and, you know, the two becoming one and merging and everything. And I remember when he had the accident, let me tell you something that happened to me. And even now when I think about it, I only can really think that it was God that did this. Let me tell you, it was like a clean slate. It was like nothing mattered that happened before, because there was a understanding that there was a possibility I would never, ever, ever, ever see you again in this lifetime.
Absolutely.
And everything at that point didn't matter. It didn't matter, because in my mind, I thought I could have lost this person that I love. Do you get what I mean? And so it was like a clean slate, and it was like an opportunity to like start again afresh, with a fresh mind, with fresh eyes, with the knowledge that you could have lost this person. All of these things that you was complaining and arguing about was insignificant to the grand scheme of things. And so I think that when people do lose people, especially suddenly, I think that there's a pain, there is a regret, there is a what if, maybe, but, you know, there's all of those things that sits on somebody's head because of the loss of a loved one. And so I really wanted to just share that with, I wanted really to share with people that it is only through the grace and the love of God
Absolutely.
we are able to overcome. And let me finish by reading this other scripture, because I don't think that we can talk about grief and pain and overcoming it without putting God in there, because he is the only one that can soothe your soul. It's the only one that
Absolutely.
can heal it. And
Yeah.
this one's in Matthews 5:4, and it says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will
Yes.
be comforted." If you tell
Yes.
someone that you are blessed whilst you're mourning, it sounds crazy, but you know what it is? Through your mourning, that will bring you to your knees, and
Uh-huh.
through your mourning, that will bring you to God, and and ultimately coming before God is going to make you be blessed. Period.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I think when you my feelings wasn't, I never had no anger towards her. I love her that much. But when you tell your stories, that's why you have to be cautious who you tell your stories to.
Who you tell your stories.
You cannot tell your stories to because not everybody equipped, especially if you're a spirit person
Mm,
and you look into the world, you go to the world and you ask them, they're gonna tell you worldly things. They're not gonna tell you what the word of God
absolutely.
said. I went to
Absolutely.
my friend, my really good friend here, and I was grieving. He knew my wife, and I went to him. D, you let her take that call, man. Man, I cut the ties. I do all this, and I'm listening to him, right? And I can't believe what I'm because I'm not cut from the same cloth he cut from. And I don't believe in revenge, and I just know that, whatever I lost, he can replace it. I knew that,
Absolutely.
he can replace it better, but you got to let it go to see what that better he talking about. At the
Mm,
time, I said, if I be good enough, my wife gonna come back. I never had no bad thoughts. I love her so much, you understand? I said, but besides, man, why would I want to go and cut the ties and to get I have a child with her, man. If something happened, man, I never forgive myself. Never.
mhm.
I said I would never want to live with that burden. Whatever she got, whatever she took, she could have it. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when you
it's
love,
true.
when you love somebody and it's so deep, not everybody gonna get it. You could talk to a million people and they might not get it, but you might talk to that one person, and that person will have empathy and understanding of what you're going through, and they're gonna sit down. We could have a really good conversation about how we can give you some really good information. Because I got some good information, bad information in the beginning. If I'd did what they was telling me, y'all wouldn't even see me right now. I'd be in jail somewhere, for
I,
real. I
I,
mean,
I
if
think
my
all of us
mind
would
was
be.
yeah, my mind was so simple, if I was so simple. But I know the word of God was upon me. I
You
knew
putting your
that
hands up
God,
though.
yeah, I knew she become I know, and I prayed because the guy he said the guy he sent to me, the guy was a minister, and the guy also went through the same thing I went through. And
Wow.
you can't tell. When he spoke that to me, when he told me the therapist and the things, the way he did I mean, just like this guy knew me, man. He knew I was spiritual in the way he diagnosed me. But again, as a man, I can only speak about a man. We have to be willing. We have to, we have
Yeah,
to drop that
be
wall
willing
down.
to be
We have to take
transparent.
that
Yeah,
self pride. We got to take
yeah,
that pride away and say, listen, I'm ready. But when I got ready, I was too late. Too
Yeah.
late. The bus
mm,
had done left. The bus done left the train station, and I was still standing up there. And I stood there for 2 years. I was trying. I was hoping beyond hope that she would come back and she would see.
Wow.
Look, I'm a good man. I'm a good man. I had never been with nobody else. I never tried with nobody. And I did meet somebody. But when I met that person really cared. I mean, oh my God. But I had unfinished business. You understand? And
Mm,
and my
mm,
mother friend, he said, "Man, why you don't like her?" I said, "But I like this woman. Is everything I want in a woman, but my heart is over here. My
mhm.
heart is there, and I can't shake it. If until I get that business straight, until I get myself straight, I'm good for nobody. Even if I get with her, I know it's
Mm.
gonna be
It-
it's gonna be hell. It's gonna go to the it because I
Mhm.
she didn't understand. She didn't understand that, and I'm very respectful of her. I loved everything about her. I mean, it was no headache, no nothing. I mean, she was there for me when my wife wasn't there for me. You understand? So then my friend said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Just, man, I can't do that, man. I can't do that to somebody. I care that much about her. I'm not gonna play with her emotions or feelings, and I know that my mind is somewhere else. You understand?
Right.
And but
mm,
that's the part that the self reflection. When you look, because
absolutely.
also at the same time, I was getting help. I was steady trying to find who I was, and the person that I'm a marry. That's the rest of my life. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not. to prepare myself. But I got to have a clean slate. And you said you have just a clean slate and you start all over. You're brand new, and that's the part that's hard is starting all over because we aren't we so comfortable with what we've been doing. We don't know how to change, and that's where the professional comes in. And then you work with somebody, but you got to give him all the pieces. You can't give him bit by bit by bit. You got to get buck naked in front of that man, and you got to say, "Oh, that woman, this is what I'm going through," so they can help you. Really give you some. Don't tell you what you want to hear, but tell you what
Mhm.
you need to hear. And but you have to have a willingness. Or you gonna make this. You're gonna go to your grave making the same mistake. I'm so grateful that God opened my eyes about so many things. I sat here, I was by myself, lonely, all these emotions. My heart is hurting, I'm crying every day, not someday, every day, crying every day, missing the life I knew, And I said, God, what did I do wrong? I mean, you gave me this beautiful wife, you gave me this beautiful son, and I knew I wasn't a good steward of what he gave me. So he took
Mhm.
it
It wasn't.
away. I
It
wasn't a good
wasn't.
steward. What's that?
Absolutely. Go
It
ahead, Mo.
wasn't.
Good.
It wasn't you. It wasn't about you.
Mhm.
Mm-mm,
You
never.
did everything right. It wasn't about you.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes we think that, and what I learned in the end was like I think you were saying that, Debbie. If I coulda, shoulda, if I'd have did this, if I'd have did that, if I'd have did that, and my final conclusion is nothing I could have done that would have saved my marriage. She was ready to go. She wanted to go. There's nothing I could have cried a river. She told me when she stood over me, she said, "You could cry me a river. You forget when I was crying. Now you crying. You see how I feel now? Now you crying. You see that? The rabbit got the gun now. You see? So it's not good
I've
when he
never
turn.
heard that
It's not
before.
good when he turned that thing
I have
around on you.
never heard
And
that. The
now
rabbit got the gun.
you never heard that before. When
No,
when
I heard that.
somebody when you the aggressor and that person turn that table on you, you don't feel good. I was telling a friend when she was asking me about the guy she was dating, and everything she was telling me sounded like it was a narcissist, and I was telling her that guy's a narcissist. I said, but then it's how you know. I said, well, man knows a man. But I said, well, I'm gonna teach you something. I'm gonna show him, give you the trick of the trade. I showed her some things. I said, listen, I'm gonna show you how to flip it on him. And when she flipped it on him, you can hear crickets. When you hear crickets, he's going. When you hear crickets, it's over because he no longer dominate no more. He's gonna go out that door. And that's exactly she
Find
said, Dennis,
somebody
how you
else.
know that? I say because a man knows a man, you understand? And especially if you're searching for a life partner, if you're real, if I still got that game in me, I could be 56 years old. Men, we got game. So you listen to everything that woman's saying, and you got a playbook for her. Everything that she say to you, you got to answer for it. Oh, look how he holding me. And I asked her, I said, she said, when he was so nice, when he opened the door, we went outside, he had his arm around me. I said, you're a narcissist. I said, how you know that, Dennis? I said, was there any calls coming? She said, no, I never thought about it, Dennis. She just met the guy,
Mhm.
that's controlling when somebody's holding you. I mean, it's so many different. And she was like, Dennis, how you know that? I said, I'm telling you, ask him about his wife. Ask him about his two wives. And she said, why? I said, well, ask him. Now he got two children. He has two boys and he has a girl. And when he talks about the boys, oh, that's my dudes. When he talk about his daughter, you know what he says? She just like her mama. I
Just
said,
like
this,
your mom.
you run, girl, run, girl. That man don't like women, man. I'm telling you. And she realized it, but she had her feelings. When you get physical with somebody,
Mhm.
especially if you haven't been with someone in a long time and you get physical with that person, right? You start having emotions, but he not feeling what you feeling. He just want the cookie. That's all. As long as he keep getting the cookie, he good. He good. But when he
I
show
want
his
to.
true colors,
I,
you need to run. Your emotions. And we talk about emotions because you get so tied up into somebody,
Okay.
you can't see nothing, and then your heart is broken, man. That is
yep.
listen. When my wife left, Debbie, that is the most pain I ever felt in my life. But the pain, it was constant. There's no medication I could have taken. Nothing that would heal that pain that was in my heart. Because when you love somebody with your heart, with your entire being, and it's not reciprocated, it's very painful. You say, what am I doing
Mm.
wrong? I don't want you. I don't want you. How many times she got to show you and tell you she didn't want you? Long in the marriage, she told me when she wrote that text when my son was 1, she let me know. She told that guy there's nothing I could ever do. And that whole time in the next 7 years, There's nothing I could have done that would have
But
pleased my
that was
ex-wife.
down to low self-esteem on your part, and not enough
I'm
self,
sure it has something to do,
not
and
enough
it has something to
self-love.
do. Yeah, absolutely,
Because
absolutely,
because if you know that somebody feels that way towards you, and then you stay,
Say, yeah.
you're staying with a hope
Hmm.
that that person will change, but you know within your heart of hearts that that person isn't loving you right. I want to go over to you, Mel,
Mhm.
because you actually put up
No,
your hand that
just
you was
one
in
second
school.
before Mo.
I love it.
No, no, she was agreeing. She was agreeing with Dennis that she would have been in jail because I put my hand up.
Oh,
You would have
did
been
I
you?
just
you,
wanted to
but
just
listen, she
say,
would
I
have been
thought she
in
put her
jail.
hand up like she was in school, like
I
me
yeah,
thought you was in
next.
I
school.
believe so
I
anyway.
thought you wanted to answer the question.
But let me
You would
just
have
say,
been in
let me
jail.
just say
But
this.
listen, you
I
would have
wanted
been
to
in
speak
jail
to,
for real.
I want to speak to
Oh
some
my
of you out
God.
there that are not
Oh my
spiritual
God.
minded or that you're not God minded.
Oh my God.
To some
Oh
of
my
you out
God.
there,
Yeah. But listen, were you a spiritual person at that time
because
when you?
hang on a minute, Dan. Hang on, Dennis. Dennis,
Can you
hold
hear
on,
me?
hold on, hold on,
I
hold
don't
on.
think you can hear.
No, I don't. I know. Yeah, I just want to speak to some of you that aren't spiritual minded, or some of you that say I don't believe in God anyway. You know, there's a scripture taken from Malachi 3:10. It says, "Test me now in this," says the Lord of hosts, "if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you a blessing until it overflows." And
Mm,
what I'm saying to you is that you may not know him as a particular name. You might say God or Creator. It's about reaching
Is
out
everybody
and
okay?
doing it in faith,
What are y'all
and then
doing?
you
Come
will
here.
find you will find um if you just mute her, just Nabi,
I just did.
um you will find there is an answer.
right.
Just my journey, just the same way how I went through the journey of um having God in my life from
Mm-hmm.
nothing. I just spoke. People say
Mm-hmm.
I speak to the universe. You know, I was speaking out into the atmosphere, whatever else. You do that in faith, and you'll see that there is a God that will come and heal, restore, strengthen you, get you to
Absolutely.
see things from a whole different perspective, things you never ever thought that you've looked at everything and thought about everything, but you're bringing this peace that passes. He says it, bring that peace that passes for all understanding, and it will guide your heart and your mind. It's it's there. It's like you you believe in faith. You're going to get
Mm-hmm.
up tomorrow morning and you're going to
Right.
see another day. You've laid your head down, but who told you, who promised you tomorrow? But yet you still have faith and believing that you're going to, or that you're going to get in your car or get on the bus or the train and get to your destination, unless your time is called, your time is
Right.
up, but you still don't know when your time is up. You're going to
Right.
just keep on believing without even thinking about it, doing these things. So I just want to challenge some of you out there that feel like there's no hope, feel like, as you've heard from all of us, devastation in divorce, devastation that you lost a loved one, the love of your life, that your life is just incomplete now and you can't move on, you can't move forward, you don't, you're left and right. There is hope, and is in hope in one that's able to touch you like no one else can, in the insides, your mind, your heart, your body, your soul. He can touch your soul and the spirit of who you are. I encourage you, just speak out. I'm not telling you run to the nearest church or run to the nearest preacher. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that start the journey
Yeah.
by speaking out, and the creator, the created one who created us, will answer you. There is generally, and that's a whole different show, because I tell you where I'm coming from, of not really believing, and you'll see. So I just wanted to encourage you that are going through, you that have never ever prayed. Praying is just this, what we're doing now. You're talking, you're expressing
Yeah.
your feelings, you're able to express your feelings and talk freely, frankly, however you are. Yeah. And he'll come and he'll show you, he'll send someone, he'll you'll see the signs. You'll say, what? How this person, what? I only just said that last night. What? He exists.
So
Can,
I
can I
Jesus is
ask you a
coming for you
question? Can
all
I
to
ask you a
have faith.
question?
go
If,
go ahead, Dennis.
when someone is like, when you're broken, you don't know that person broken, but you invested all these emotions in that person, right? And then when that person act up because of that brokenness, but by this time you emotionally connected, you done put everything into that person, and that's the pain. That's the pain that
Mm,
the other person would, like, you loving somebody who's broken,
Do you
not
know what
knowing
the
they're
pain
broken.
is? The pain
Uh-huh.
is the expectations of the future, because you
Absolutely.
have an expectation that your
Absolutely.
future is going to look
Absolutely.
like this, and it can be torn away from you through death or through
Uh-huh.
divorce. And
Well
it's
said.
that thing that you believed you was going to have that is no
Absolutely.
longer there, and that's where the pain comes in. But
mm,
when you look, when you think of, when you allow your minds to really reel back in, and you understand that that was just a desire, that was a fantasy, that was just a hope, that wasn't actually a reality. This is why, when I experienced domestic abuse, I got to the stage where I had no expectations. I didn't know if he was going to come in and pour a bucket of water over me, or say,
Mm,
"Hi, baby, how are you doing?" I had no expectations. I
mm,
literally just took it as it came, because the desire for you to come in and say, "Hi, baby," was
mm,
was hurting me more than me
mm.
just saying, "I don't know what's going to happen. Whatever
Right.
happens, happens." Because if you came in and you did something wicked and untoward, the pain that I would feel, it would be like a physical pain, you know.
Mm-hmm.
mm.
So
Because you had
it's
the
that
expectation.
expectation, it's the expectation that has died, that
Right.
Yeah.
makes you feel like you've died. Like that was a
Yeah.
hope, that was what I believed was going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
and
Mm,
and and the moment you come to terms with that was the expectation, that was a desire, that was a fantasy, that was a dream, and you consolidate that, you start to heal, you start to recover. I had 8 points
mm.
that I wanted to bring out, and I literally only touched on one. But I'm
And
gonna
I
scoot
had a
through
few as
them.
well.
Yeah, I'm gonna scoot through them quickly, just for food for thought.
Well,
So the first one, like I said, was acknowledge your grief. For me, and uh, I can't say any other way, because I'm a believer. I don't know if I don't know if you can see my t-shirt. This is my t-shirt. I love Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah. My proclamation. So lean on your faith, turn to your faith for comfort and strength. Trust that God is with you in your time of sorrow. Seek others for help. Don't go through it alone. Lean on friends, family, your faith community. Take care of yourself. Prioritize self-care and navigate your grief. Physical, emotional well-being is crucial during this time. Find purpose and meaning. Find something that you can engage in, activities, something that is going to help you to heal, because it's a powerful way of healing when you find your purpose and meaning in life, and it's not wrapped up in a person. you know it again, accept help from God. Like I said, in situations like that, it can bring you to your knees, and it's a good place to be, very humbling before God. Give yourself time. So healing from loss takes time. Be patient with yourself and allow yourself to go through the grieving process, and find hope in God's promises. Look to the future with hope, trusting in God's promises and his love for you. And I had some scriptures and some other advice that I wanted to share with you all, but because the time is spent, I just wanted to run through that. I don't know if you wanted to run through yours, and then we can take final words.
now mine was way too long. I was just
Okay.
looking, just scooting through, and it was like, whoa.
Hmm.
But the most important thing, um, besides God, is being able to, as this was saying as well, I'm looking, is divorce grief resources. Find a therapist, and um, expression.
Have you got any links there, Paul? Have you got any links?
This is Psych Central, yeah, .com.
Okay.
Um, there's a blog. Um, you really, no one expects to lose. Like me having a stroke last year, it could have been a different story.
Right.
Yeah, that you get this may have continued. You may have continued. You know, this would have affected Debbie because she was doing this with me. But what I've been able to look at, and which is a comfort to me at the same time, these shows are always going to be here. So for my children, or friends or family, if they want to be able to see me, and laugh with watching this, these shows. One of the things that I was looking at here just now, someone said about writing a goodbye letter. I was, and as I
Absolutely.
read that, I thought you can write it to yourself,
Yeah.
and read it and say, and affirmations are very important. What you're now going
Absolutely.
to, now that this has happened, you might not do it straight away, but don't stay in the hole. Yes, you've lost. Yes, it's been ripped. You've been ripped apart. But why stay in the darkness when there's a beautiful light outside? Eventually, it's not that just about finding love in someone else, but being able to love yourself and say, this was a journey. This was an experience. I never anticipated it, but guess what? I'm still here. See, I
Absolutely.
appreciate life because I'm here. I'm still here, by God's grace, coming through that stroke, 6 months of my life and thinking you're going to die. Look at me. I'm talking. I'm enjoying life, to the full, and really to the full, in here, you know, and it's important. It's important to love yourself. It's important to find something positive to be doing in your life. Go Pilates, go for a run, go to gym, join a club. Don't isolate yourself and just be alone in your grief. There's a mourning period. That's okay. But after the mourning, you said it earlier on, Debbie, and I was gonna play on that. After the morning is the afternoon. There is a day after today. There's a day tomorrow,
Mhm.
and it's step at a time, step at a time. You know, what I want to say to some of you that have lost someone, I'm sorry for your loss. Some of you that have gone through divorce or you're going through right now, I'm sorry for your grief, but there are brighter days. Take it from us, we're all divorcees here. There are brighter days. There are brighter days. Um, you don't see it
Mhm.
straight away, but there is. And there's always hope, and keep the faith. All right. That's my final word anyway.
Over to you, Mel, and then Dennis, and then I will wrap up. What are your final words to encourage those that are listening?
Um, Hope you guys can hear me really bad here. So
Yes, we
I
can.
had a
Can.
packet. I had a whole packet on this subject. There's so many good things in here. Some of it was touched on, some of
We're
it
gonna have to. We're
was
gonna have
not.
to do another one.
Okay. Some of it was touched on, some of it was not. One of the most important things, Paul just said it in his takeaway, and that is um, find a counselor and write a grief letter. Write a grief letter to yourself. When I did that, it was powerful. As a matter of fact, when I was actually doing
Mm,
it, memories were coming back that I hadn't even remembered in years.
Mm,
Was very powerful. So write a grief letter to yourself, and all a grief letter is just talking about the loss from beginning to end. Another good thing to do is journal. Set a time to journal. Set a regular time to journal. Go out and buy the journal, and stick to it. Just write down maybe two or three things from the day. But journaling, mirroring your day, on paper, is important. And then the last thing I want to read it. It's a serenity prayer. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And Angela Davis added, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. So the
Yeah.
things that we went through that we're not able to accept, some of the things that I went through that I'm not able to accept, I've changed. I'm changing them. It won't be the same way when I pick another partner. It won't be the same me. Definitely not the same me, because I already know that I'm not the same me.
Yeah.
And it's just, we learn how to adjust as human beings. We learn how to adjust to things, and we need to adjust in the healthiest way we can.
That's awesome. Do you know what I like about what you just said?
Thank you.
When I pick another partner, not or when I find another partner, when I pick. So you know that you have the choice to pick someone. You have the ability. You're not just waiting for something to sell past you. You have the ability to pick and to choose somebody to your liking. That's awesome.
Right.
Can I say something on that? Because I'm a strong believer of this with the word of God. He says, "He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing."
Good thing.
What I want to say is continue to
Find a
be the
good
good thing that
thing.
you are,
Mm-hmm.
which then you will draw the good thing in a husband of what he should be. He
Totally
will pick
agree.
you, but you will accept him because he will
Exactly.
be that what you desire. So
Exactly.
I don't mean to step on any toes, but it's that
You
order
did.
that he find you. Yeah, but he find a good thing, not traumatized, not broken down, not carrying the hostility, not harboring all these grudges and um, whatever else it is. But he finds a good thing. Are
Mm-hmm.
you a good thing? So see, and sorry, being
Oh,
a
let me have
good
to go off
thing.
into that
No,
now because
no,
I'm
being a
studying
good
that.
being a good thing is not for now; it's forever. Being a
Mm-hmm.
wife isn't just now, or being a husband; it's forever. Yeah. Unfortunately, some of it doesn't work. But then, what we've been through should bring us to a place that A, as a woman, you're the good thing,
Mm-hmm.
and B, as a man, you are that great thing. You are a leader. You are leading her into good things, great things together. That is
That's
my
the
final
next
word.
final words. Over to you, Dennis.
Isn't
And in closing,
In closing for the
it?
fifth
And in
time.
closing,
For the fifth time,
well,
people.
yeah, one thing I know is to find your peace. It's there, and I
Yeah.
would encourage you to let go and let God, because He's gonna
Mm.
ah,
replace it. He's gonna replace better. It's because you've not seen what better look like. You think what you've been doing was normal until you see the better that He wants to give you. You're gonna ask yourself,
Come on
why
now.
did I stay so long there? And look at the beauty I've been missing all this time. I know that God is able. I do. I do. We all
Yeah.
question God. That's a human thing. Especially when your heart is broken. You want to ask why. You may never get the answer. You may never get the closure that you're looking for. But you have to be a forward thinker that something is better. I've realized that, that when it's in God's hands, it's in good hands.
Mhm.
You give it to Him, you leave it at the cross so many times. I've left it there, but when I got up to leave, I took it with me until I
Mm-mm.
started learning to leave it
mm,
there. Things change, circumstances change. It may not be changing, but it's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving. We serve a good God. A God could do anything except fail. And we just have to put our trust in Him and Him alone, nobody else, not in man, because man will disappoint us. I've learned that. It was a tough lesson to learn, but I know just from my own personal experience what God has done to my life, in my life, and continue to work in my life. And you guys just got to hold on to God's unchanging hands.
yeah.
I think
Thank you,
that
Dennis.
deserves the amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Mm.
Let's
Preach,
pass
And
the hat.
preacher.
Let's pass the hat. Let's pass the before the congregation leave. Let's pass the
So
hat
you can
out.
all go now. It's all right.
Oh look, I got got a hat, Paul.
The guest speaker ain't getting nothing. Yeah?
Get your blessing.
We paid the guest speaker already. Yeah, yeah.
Please,
You can
let
go.
me
You're
see what
smooth.
they got in here.
Get your blessing, Paul. Get your blessing.
Millicent took out her purse.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
That's
God,
funny.
that's too funny, Paul. That's too funny.
That
Yeah,
is hilarious.
I'll just bring out my cash card, so you
Cash
can just
card.
tap,
But the
you
cash
can just
card.
tap on there. Just tap.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul said he would write a check, but they don't text in America. They don't take checks, man. Cash is always the best, man.
Cash
Everything
is
is cash,
king.
Paul.
Yeah, I told him I sent the check already, and I don't understand why he hasn't got it. But now
Paul,
he's told me.
it bounced back to the UK, man. The check bounced, man.
Yeah, well, the money's gone now. I thought you had it. I just spent balance was.
Man, the mailman said when he put it in the mailbox, it bounced.
Cash is
Oh my
king.
God. Oh my
So
God.
go on, Debbie. You wanted to wrap up. I just want to say thank you for those that interacted in the chat, and those silent listeners as well. Thank you for joining us. We would love you in the chat, and any subjects that you feel that you want to us to cover, please get in contact with us any way through social media, or DM us, and we'll talk about that the subject that you want to do with relationships, or it might be something different. Who knows? But please do. We're here for you. This is your show, not just our show. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Hello to
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
the American lady that I met at Melrose House, and her nieces, and that couple. I don't remember if but those in Crystal Palace that we met. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I wanted to leave us with a couple of scriptures. Ecclesiastes 3:1-4. It's a very popular scripture, and I think it's very befitting. It says, "There is a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance." And the other one is another popular one, Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And I really just wanted to leave that with you as a word of encouragement, that ultimately we are going to go through seasons in life. It's never going to all just be sweet. But the thing is, God has a plan to prosper you, to give you a hope and a future, a beautiful future. And if we just trust in him, we will embark upon that future. It's when we stay still and stay stagnant and stay stuck that we don't enter into the promises of God. And so I hope that this has encouraged someone, that there is hope after all of this. The way to cope through it, we've given you various different coping mechanisms. I wouldn't even say coping mechanisms, because cope is a different kind of word, but it's hope in the midst of it all. And again, like we said, and we've said on various podcasts, both myself and Paul are coaches, and I'm a mentor, and I'm a counselor. We've got even my cousin on here who's counseling. And because counseling is like, you can touch bases with anyone, anywhere in the world, reach out to us if you need that help, if you need that support. Please don't do it by yourselves. Sometimes friends and family, they mean the best, but they're not always equipped to help you through this process. And so we just want to extend our hands towards
And know that everything will be confidential as well.
Absolutely, non-negotiable.
So, that's a given.
Yeah. So I hope that this has blessed you. I hope that it has strengthened you in some way. And we will definitely be ready to see you on the next. And like my brother said, think of a subject that you'd like to bring to the platform, and we will do our best to bring it on here and share it with the listeners. Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Just one more thought that came to my mind. if it's just if well, I don't know how many men are on here, but for the men or the women whose men you feel that they could benefit in talking to men like myself and Dennis, please get in contact with us
Connect. Yeah.
and connect with us. You know, we're not, we don't take sides, but we only tell you truth. Men need to have men around to be able to be transparent and talk about our issues that we're having, so that we too can grow from somebody else who's gone through, or we're like-minded. You know, so please, ladies, if you got your husband, boyfriend, um, your brother, your dad that need to talk, because we all have had trauma, or traumatic situations or burdens. However, we are here for you as men, Dennis and myself as well. So please, 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 don't just suffer alone in silence or through your masculinity. Okay. Um, yeah. So, Dennis, I'll be open for that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Iron sharpens
Okay.
iron.
And I want to thank you both for coming and sharing. Um, we really value you, and I'll put it up so you guys can see it. Um, Antoinette, she says, "Thank you for the invaluable advice," and I think that that sums up that you guys have done a wonderful job, Debbie, Merle, or Millicent. Thank you so much.
And yourself. Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Paul.
Until next
Thank
week.
you.
God
The
bless
Thank you,
you.
internet,
guys.
the internet
Thank
knows
you.
who Merle is.